Hi, everyone. I just wanted to take a minute to talk about the assignment, the tracking a topic or a theme assignment. As I think, for whatever reason, people I think tend to make it more difficult than it is. This assignment is supposed to be simply an introduction to multimedia techniques for different ways that we can deliver information in a digital manner to a broad public audience. So the goal is really an easy one. It's to find an audio example and a still visual example of some topic or theme that came up in your research paper. You're not supposed to or required to use those examples to support any argument, to support what you said. You're not trying to make any kind of persuasive argument. It's more of a compare and contrast essay where you're trying to think about, okay, if I'm trying to reach a public audience, not just an academic one, what are some of the ways I might do that? You might make a podcast. Why would you make a podcast? What's good about a podcast? If you wanted to, for instance, talk about dogs, why would you make a podcast to communicate how dogs are used in PTSD for people with PTSD? So maybe there's a podcast where there's two scientists talking about dogs with PTSD, or war veterans, or children with illnesses. So listen to the podcast, follow the instructions for how to summarize and discuss it. Then I would go to Google, type in infographic and PTSD and dogs, and then see what images come up for that, and choose one visual to then be like, okay, if I wanted to communicate the same information or the same topic, why would I use a infographic? What is useful about an infographic? The goal is to think about how different forms communicate information. So you do want to choose examples that actually communicate some data. You don't want just a poster of a dog. That's not communicating an argument. That's not communicating information. But if you had research, a bundle of research, I want you to discuss 3 examples of how that research might reach an audience. One's your academic paper, one's a podcast, and one is an infographic. That's all there is to it. It's a summary, compare, contrast with a bit of order to think about how structure affects the meaning of the things we're looking at. So don't turn it into something bigger than it is. I'm going to post this video along with a couple of links and discussions of both podcasts and infographics because I think they're the best examples to use. But there are a few other kinds of examples as I list on the assignment sheet. If you have further questions, of course, get in touch. But again, don't make this into a bigger assignment than it is. It really is supposed to just be an introduction to multimedia presentation of research. Reliable, credible research that you're trying to reach a public audience with using multimedia techniques. Now we're just looking at a few examples. All right, be in touch.